As if 2026 wasn't weird enough, it looks like our biggest expansion will be the 30th anniversary set. Featuring 128 cards before Secret Rares, it's officially titled 30th Celebration and releases worldwide on Wednesday, September 16th. This is the first time in those 30 years that a set has come out on the same date throughout the world. As a result, we won't get a sneak Pikachu at how the new cards are performing ahead of time in Japan like we normally do, meaning it'll be the Wild West for those first few days and weeks as we try to figure out the meta. Despite the massive girth of 30th Celebration, it's still a special set. The differences with a main set like Chaos Rising are that special sets don't have pre-releases or booster boxes and the products launch at various intervals. This creates a situation where you have to beat off people even harder and more frequently at a Costco parking lot since stock is lower and everyone wants it. Yeah, even those punk kids who want to do asinine things like collect Pokemon cards instead of holding onto them for years to resell them at a 69% markup. Thankfully, cool people like you and me who can read and only care about what's written on the cards don't really have to deal with that. But there are some things you need to be aware of regarding 30th Celebration. First, like Celebrations, every card in the pack will be hollow. Inside the 6-card packs, you'll find a guaranteed hollow energy plus a guaranteed Pikachu with 30 different versions of Pikachu available. Additionally, similar to Celebrations, there will be a classic collection featuring 30 impactful cards from the past 30 years. While none of them are standard legal, if they're still playable and expanded, they can be used there. However, because of the big set size, 30th Celebration will not overtake Celebrations as the best way to farm trade credits on Pokemon TCG Live. So keep buying those 6-pack Celebrations bundles. Anyway, so far, only Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX and base set Charizard from the Classic Collection have been shown off in English. But a short teaser video on the Japanese website appears to reveal that these will be the 30 total cards in the Classic Collection. Again, you can't use them in Standard, so most of them are useless for competitive players, though adding that full art end to your collection will be a lot cheaper come September. Okay, for the new cards in 30th Celebration, which will all be standard legal, we know 3 of the 30 Pikachu. As you probably could have guessed, they all suck. The good news is that if and when both Mega Raichu releases cards, we'll have dozens of Pikachu to choose from. Do note that in the bottom left, each Pikachu is noted as part of the main set, but they also carry a designation for which number they are among the 30 Pikachu cards. But by far, the biggest new card revealed so far is Mew EX, which will feature the new futuristic rare rarity. Continuing the tradition of Mew being able to copy attacks of other Pokemon, this guy can use the attacks of any of your bench Pokemon, you just need the correct energy. In your head, you're imagining what Gardevoir's feet looked like, not having realized Gardevoir doesn't actually have feet. Also, you're probably thinking Mew EX in a deck with Lily's Clefairy EX to copy something like Pitch Black Magnetric, or I don't know, Black Kyurem EX's paralyzing attack is goaded against Dragapult. In reality, this is a terrible idea. Mew EX only has 160 hit points. Dragapult can already overcome the 190 HP of Clefairy. 160 is just a Dusknoir and a Monkey Dory, or 2 Phantom Dive Pings and 2 Monkey Dory, or a Mirage Barrage and a Dusclops, because remember that Shaman doesn't protect EXs. So unfortunately, this is not our savior against Dragapult. That honor might still belong to Ghost Veil coming in Pitch Black this July. However, Mew EX isn't unplayable. One fancy thing you can do is put a copy in a Beedrill EX deck. This way you keep Beedrill safe, foregoing the need to play with your Rod. Or you can put it in Raging Bolt with Clefairy to, yes, KO a Dragapult easilier. Or Dragapult players will include a copy to have a Badoo with 160 hit points. Probably where Mew EX will see the most use is in a Mega deck. Again, it can copy any attack from any of your bench Pokemon, giving up 2 prizes when it's knocked out. Put it in a Lucario or Frostlass or Starmie deck, now you have someone with the power of a Mega but the drawback of a regular EX. Or what about Mega Magnetric, whose biggest weakness is fighting? Mew hits fighting for weakness and can be powered up by Electric. The same holds true for Mega Lopunny. Though, if Mew EX does become as popular as the Pokemon Company wants, I think this might be the end for Mega Lucario. Because in their quest to combat Dragapult, Lucario has kind of been collateral damage. I'm sure dozens of strategies will appear over the next few months as more 30th Celebration cards are revealed. For now, yes, Mew EX has massive potential, but the low HP could be a bigger problem than getting your Pokeball stuck in your zipper. Unfortunately, Mewtwo EX isn't nearly as good and is on the verge of being laughably bad. For 2 Psychic, it does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX. In case you've forgotten, Terras are protected against damage while on the bench, and Dragapult is a Terra. Same with every Ogerpon EX. And single prizers are unaffected, so Photon Bullet seems kinda horrible. Psychic Powers isn't much better. For 3 Psychic, it does 230 damage, and next turn Mewtwo can't do anything unless it switches. 230 is coming up short on a Raging Bolt unless you have Lily's Clefairy. Except Lily's Clefairy attacks for 1 less and can one-shot Raging Bolt fairly easily on its own. Compared to Team Rocket's Mewtwo, the old one has 50 more hit points and can deal 50 more damage for the same energy cost. So yeah, I don't expect this card to do very much. Somehow our 4th Greninja EX in Standard and 5th overall, this one pairs perfectly with the Terra and the Mega. For a single water, it deals 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on it. Mortal Shuriken wants to play 6th and deal 180 damage with Stealthy Slash, knocking out Mewtwo, Pheasantipity, Latias, Raging Bolt, and so much more. Or if you can pull off a Mirage Barrage, everything is within range, taking 360 damage from Stealthy Slash if you play your cards right. Or skip every other Greninja altogether and only run Dusknoir hoping they forgot Psyduck. Just remember that again, things like Ogerpon and Dragapult are Terras, so they're safe on the bench from Stealthy Slash's damage. But no matter which way you slice it, the Pokemon Company is totally in love with Greninja, and apparently they're going to keep giving it cards until we make it a Tier 1 deck. Probably the 30th celebration card I'm most excited for is Sylveon EX. Now, before you go thinking this thing can deal astronomical damage, there's only 8 types of basic energy in Standard. So Sylveon, who deals 50 damage for each type of basic energy attached to all your Pokemon, tops out at 400. Still, there's plenty of ways to achieve this. The first thing you have to remember is that provided Team Rocket's Watchtower isn't in play, you can evolve Terra Eevee EX into Sylveon EX. This matters because you can Glass Trumpet 2 energy to Eevee. Best of all, we might live in a world where Energy Search Pro is a playable card again, grabbing 1 of every energy from deck. Along with Glass Trumpet, you can also take advantage of Terapagos. This accelerates 3 different types of energy from your deck to your Terras however you want. Or what about the new Delibird? You have to have the energy in hand, but it can put the energy anywhere, not just on a Terra. And don't forget about the fact that you can put Sylveon into an Eeveelution deck with Leafeon and Flareon and whatever else you want, creating an abomination where your opponent never knows what's coming. Yeah, to say that Eeveelution decks are going to finish 2026 strong is an understatement. At the very least, we're getting Sylveon EX, Espeon, and Umbreon in 30th Celebration. This is in addition to the Terra EXs we already have for every Eeveelution, plus all the Baby Eevee and Terra Eevee EX. Unfortunately, the new Umbreon is basically unplayable, though I guess their thinking is that it's a way to one-shot Mew EX. But the highlight of the two is definitely Espeon. Widespread devolving has fallen off immensely since we lost TMD Evolution to rotation, with the best option now being Espeon EX. If you're wondering why I dumped Espeon on the VODs channel and didn't make a main channel video, well, turns out getting 3 different types of energy on somebody just to devolve is kinda rough. While baby Espeon doesn't put the devolved Pokemon back into their deck like the EX, as Matthew McConaughey would say, fact is, the law says you cannot touch. Thanks to Espeon, any spread deck like Frostlass Monkey Dory can threaten a board devolve for just a Psychic and a counter gain. Unfortunately, because Espeon's an evolution, it can't utilize Prism Energy, so you will need to play at least 1 basic Psychic. That being said, Espeon's greatest role will probably be in a Slowking deck. Copy Kyurem first, dealing 110 damage to, say, 3 Beedrill EX. Then next turn copy Miraculous Shine and take 3 prizes. Or do it to any other evolved EX deck like Zoroark or Garchomp or Hydrapple or Starmie or Frostlass or Mega Greninja, and it's 3 easy prizes. Just remember that Dragapult has a stupid built-in bench barrier because the Pokemon Company thought it'd be a good idea to make it a Terra. So you have to target the Dreepy or the Dracloak before they become a problem, hoping they don't run Shaman. Finally, we were also shown illustration rares of the Lapras, Lycanroc, Drifloon, and Hisuian Zorua coming in 30th Celebration. None of these cards are playable, though I guess Zorua's existence means there will probably be a Hisuian Zoroark EX in the set. If you weren't already aware, it's going to be a very weird end to 2026 for the TCG. Japan is getting the Mega Rayquaza-focused Storm Emeralda set at the end of July. But we have Pitch Black coming on July 16th with 30th Celebration exactly 2 months later. My guess is that we'll get our final set of the year in November featuring all those cards from the Mega Rayquaza set. Though that is just a guess at this point. For now, expect Mega Ray to be revealed in Japan at the end of the month, with more cards from 30th Celebration to arrive in the coming weeks and months. Until then, let me know your thoughts on these newly revealed cards, which are still 3.5 months away.